Hi everybody, in this video we're not going to so much talk about planes, but we are going to be talking about solids, mainly how to name them. So this right here, we're not going to focus on that one. We're going to work on how to do a net, and then we're also going to find different views of shapes. So the first thing is knowing the parts of our solids. We are going to start here with the vertex, which you might already know as, you'd probably say it's the corner. And it's kind of like the vertex then in a triangle, kind of like that point right there. The next part then is we've got this here, which is what we call an edge. And then the face is going to be kind of like what you would consider to be the side of one of the solids. And then a name that you're going to need to recognize as well is the polyhedron. And so that just means a solid whose faces are polygons. So for example, if I were to draw a cube here, that is a polyhedron, whereas if I try to draw a sphere, that one is not going to be a polyhedron because its faces are not polygons. All right, now naming prisms. We need two congruent parallel bases. So in each of these solids down here in the middle, I'm coloring in all of the bases. And the importance of those bases is that those determine the name of the shape. So for example, the first one looks like we have squares on the top and bottom. So we would call it a square prism. This second one looks like we have hexagons there. Now we don't just say hexagon, we actually have to include hexagonal, and then that'd be a hexagonal prism. This one we see triangles as the bases, so it's a triangular prism. And then the last one I think I included mostly just kind of to trick you, see if you would say square prism again, but we do know that the last one is also known as a cube. Now, one thing I kind of skipped over here is the lateral surface. And so that is going to be all of the, I shouldn't have said sides, I should have said faces that are not a base. So for example, this, the rectangle back there, the rectangle in the back, and then this one right here, those are all the sides, those are all the faces that make up the lateral surface. Same with this one here, and so on. Those would be the lateral surface, and then this one is actually on its side, and so on. And then the bottom would also be part of the lateral surface. The cube does have a lateral surface too. It would be those four rectangles. Okay, then down below here we have a right prism. So that's going to be where the base and the lateral surface is going to make a right angle. All of these here are examples of right prisms. Now, something that is not going to be a right prism, we call that an oblique solid. An example of that, I'm going to try to draw this to the best of my ability, would be something kind of like if I had, let's say, I'm going to try to draw that there, and then it's going to curve, well, not really curve, but it's going to bend down like that. So that right there, that would be an example then of an oblique solid because we do not make a right angle with the base and the lateral surface. Okay, now the next part, naming pyramids. So we're going to have just one base here, and then the lateral surface will be triangles that share one point. This first one is also known as a tetrahedron, but we will name it based off of what the base shape is. Well, that's a triangle, so it's going to be triangular, and then we're talking about pyramids, so it's a triangular pyramid. The second one, the base, I count 6 sides on that, so this will again be hexagonal, and then it'll be a pyramid. And then for our last one, that kind of looks, I'd say it's more rectangular this time. So we're going to call that a rectangular pyramid. Now, an interesting fact about all polyhedra is that we have this equation here, and I'm going to write it down below. Vertices plus faces minus edges will always be equal to 2. And this table comes from the old Level I math book from Sabis. And so I'm just going to show with a couple of them here. The triangular prism, 6 plus 5 is 11, minus 9 equals 2. If we did the cube, 8 plus 6 is 14, minus 12 was going to get us 2. And so on with the rest of these. It's true for all of the polyhedra solids. So it's just a really interesting fact. It's not really something that is going to be used by us very often, but it is something just something that's been that was discovered centuries ago and has just been very interesting in the world of geometry. Okay, now the next part then, we're going to talk about the net. And a net is going to be the shape created when a solid is unfolded. So for this here, I'm going to just say that that's a cube. Well, we know that a cube, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the bottom is 5, and then the top is 6. We know that a cube has 6 sides. So what I need to do then is I should draw 6 squares. But I can't just draw 6 of them end to end, because if I were to try to fold those up, yes, I'm going to get a cube-like shape, but there's going to be no top. And then same with this here, there won't be a bottom. So I can't just put all of those next to each other and say that's good enough. Instead, what has to happen is that we need to put one on one side of those other 4 and then one on the other side. And now when we fold these together, yes, we'll still get the cube shape, but at least this time now all of the sides, all the faces will be included. So then down below, if we're going to draw the net of this triangular pyramid, I'm going to start with the base, which I can tell is what appears to be a scalene triangle. And then we're supposed to have 1, 2, and then the back 3 triangles that are attached to the base. So the back one would look kind of like that. The one I numbered as 2 would look kind of like that. And then the one that was numbered 1 would look something like that. Now, hopefully, if we were to cut this out and then fold it together, it would make a pyramid that looks something like that. Again, I'm not the best at drawing, so we're just going to have to pretend that it was going to work. So what I want you to do then is I want you to answer these 2 questions. The one on the left, draw a net for that shape. And then on the right, I want you to identify what type of solid and try to draw what that solid would look like too. So pause the video. When you are done, I will give you the answers for these 2. All right, so in the first one then, we notice that we've got pentagons for the top and bottom, so we definitely need to include those. So there's one pentagon. Now I notice that what connects them will be rectangles. So let's draw in the rectangle, and then I'm going to draw in the other pentagon. Hopefully I can get it to look kind of reasonable. I'm going to say that's good enough. Now, we've only done one of the rectangles. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4 left. So let's go ahead and draw 2 rectangles then on both sides. And there we go. That is going to make our net. Now, it's okay if your pentagons happen to be somewhere else in the picture. So like I could have moved both of them to be like that. I could have moved this one to be here. I could have this one be on the second one. It doesn't really matter, because as long as it's on both sides of the rectangles, it is going to work. Then for the second one, what solid can be created? Well, I see that we've got 4 triangles, And then there's also this square down here. So I'm thinking then that square is probably the base, and then the 4 triangles suggest that this is a pyramid. So I'm thinking square pyramid is our shape. And I suggested that you should also try to draw this. What I would say is just draw a triangle, put one more side off there, and then we can draw in dotted lines for the base. And so that is the square pyramid created by this net. One other thing that we're going to do as well with our solid is that we're going to have what is called the isometric view. Pretty much it's taking a two-dimensional shape and making it look three-dimensional. So as you can tell, we can see two different sides then of this building, but sometimes we might want to know what exactly is the front view and what exactly is the side view. And so either we're going to draw those ourselves or we're going to be given those and we have to figure out what does the original shape look like. And we're going to focus on three different parts then. We're going to be looking at the front of the shape, we're going to be looking at the top of the shape, we're also going to be looking at the side of the shape. So for this example, we're supposed to give the top, the side, and the front views for this picture. What I'm thinking then is that we're going to have the front there. This will be our side. And then there is the top. So we should go ahead then and draw each of these. I did the top last in green, so I'm going to start with that. And I noticed that the top is this shape. It's kind of a U shape. So we can go ahead and draw that out. And then we're going to extend those out. And there we go. So if we had used like a drone and we were flying on top of this and looking straight down, that is the view that we would have seen. Then the next one that I'm going to do is the side. And the side here looks like we just have 2 blocks wide and it's just 1 block tall. So I just need to draw that and I'm done. And then lastly, the front. And for our front here, it looks like we are going to have 3 blocks wide and it's 1 block tall. And there we go. That is what the front would have looked like if we looked directly at this shape. So for these two then, I want you to go ahead and try it on your own. I want you to draw the top, the side, and the front views. And then pause the video when you are done. I will show you what you should have had for your answers. Okay, so in this first one, there is our side view. This here is going to be the front. And then there is the top. So our side view first looks like it's going to be 3 wide and 1 tall. So I can just draw that right there. Then for the front, this one's going to be a little bit trickier because not only do we have that right there, but the front actually includes those 2 blocks as well. So altogether, even though we happen to have this one in front, that's like 1 block forward from the other 2 here, we actually would see that as just being one solid wall if it was all together. So for that front, we still are going to just draw 3 wide and 1 tall. Then the last one is our top view, and we've got this here. And that looks kind of like a sideways T. So I will go ahead and draw that in. And there we go. That is the top. Okay, in the second one then, labeling all the different parts, there's our front, there's our side, there's our top. So first off, we've got our front side, which is just going to be 3 wide and 1 tall. I'm going to do the side, which happens to look the exact same as what our front was. And then lastly, the top looks kind of like an L shape. And let's see, we got 1, 2, there we go. And that's it. Now sometimes we're also going to have the 3 different views given, and what we need to do is we have to find what the solid looks like. So in this case, I think what's going to be easiest is if we start with the front view and we combine it with the top, specifically because this part that I am highlighting here, that is the front side from the top view. So I know for my front, if it is 3 wide and it's 2 tall, we've got that. And then now I'm going to try to draw the top part. So I know that we are going to have, I'm going to draw this row first. So I'm going to go back 1 and across. Then I'm going to do this row. So it's going to be back again and across. And then lastly, we just have 1 block right there. And I've got that. And then I'm going to draw this here, and I now have the top view drawn. The last part is the side, and that is going to be 3 wide and 2 tall. So I'm going to take care of the 2 tall there, and then I'm going to draw this back like that. I'm going to fix it a little bit. And if I draw this across, whoops, if I draw this across, there we go. And then if I drop down 1 there and 1 there, this picture matches the 3 that we had here, because look at this. There's the front, it matches that one right there. Here's the side, matches that one right there. And then lastly, the top matches that right there. So similarly, I want you to try the same thing. So here are 3 views. Pause the video, draw your solid, and then when you are done, you can compare it with my answer. Okay, so same as before, we've got the front there, and it's supposed to match up with that part of the top. So we're going to start with our 3 wide, 1 tall. I'm going to draw this row here, so I'm going to go back 1, like that. And then we need to draw that as well, so I'm going to go back 1 more. And we've got that. Then the last part is that we have to take care of our side. I'm going to drop down there, and it's just supposed to be 1 block tall, and then I can connect it here. And then I can connect that part there. To check, there's my front. It does match this part right here. Next part is going to be the side. Does match that there. And then the top indeed matches that right there. So that is everything, everybody. Go to Sabis Digital Platform and you can see which questions I've marked as required and which ones are optional. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.